Looks
Hey,
like,
Austin.
hey, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Thanks everybody for joining here. As people are rolling in, we just like to get a quick understanding of who's in the room. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a moment to drop in the chat your name, where you're from, the primary product or service that you provide, and then just a general kind of temperature check on your experience building ads and kind of where you're at with your process. So if you put a 10, you're an absolute whiz. And if you're one, maybe you're just kind of getting started. So would love to just kind of see where everybody's at and who you are.
Matt, is it possible to ask you a quick question?
Me, Austin?
Yeah, are we recording this too? So there's a copy we'll be able to watch back?
There is. And I actually wanted to just, kind of share. This is a group discussion where we're going to be chatting about your business a little bit. I was thinking that maybe we wouldn't share externally that segment and that maybe we would trim the video to just some of the things that Demand IQ is going to share and not necessarily what everybody else is kind of sharing in the roundtable just to keep it a little more private. I see there are other like note takers in here as well. So I don't know. Does anybody want to chime in with their general? This is the first time we're doing this, so I'd love to just get some feedback on the concept of the recording for anyone who's in the room right now and wants to share their thoughts.
I don't mind either way.
All good over here.
Cool. Does anybody, feel like they're not game for that? Maybe just put in the chat, or I don't know if you can do an anonymous thing to me, but yeah, okay. If we don't have anybody that's, directly opposed to it, then we'll just go ahead and record this and end to end. Matt, good to see you. Tanner, thanks for joining. Thanks to everybody for jumping in here. If you're just joining here, go ahead and throw some comments here in the chat, your name, where you're from, the primary service or product that you provide, and then also would love to just get some understanding of where you're at with your experience building advertisements and being creative for your company. So when we get to 5 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and start getting into this, but let me just read some of these out here. We've got Steve Archer from Yuba City, California. Steve, what's your company's name? I'm sorry. I
West
guess
Haven Power.
West Haven. Yeah, that's right. Good to meet you in Zoom. I don't know that we've spoke directly by Zoom yet, but good to have you here.
Thanks, man.
Um, Looks like you're a 10. Steven, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say, my guy.
I got you, Austin. Let's roll, man.
Let's do it. Cody, marketing at True Solar in Iowa. Jordan, you're at Infinity. What's up, my guy? How are you? Got Matt
Hey,
from
what's up, Austin?
Infinity. You got Matt from Infinity. He's average at best, but he's a modest guy. I know him pretty well, so I think he's got some good feedback. We've got Christina in Cali. She says she sells solar, but that I sell solar, and she's an 8. That's great. I'm excited to have your feedback. Jasmine, New York, works at Infinity as well. Thanks for joining. We've got Matt from Ambrose. We've got Roman, my guy here in Denver. He says he's a 7. I know that he's at a PRQ, Exterior Services. Um, Emil, I'm sorry, Emil. I know that Ibris, HVAC. So thanks for joining us here. Tanner from Utah works with Matt. We've got a whole crew here from Infinity. Thanks for joining, everybody. And then we've got, oh, Tanner's just commenting. So, oh man, we've got more. We've got Ben Woschlager. Hopefully I got that right. At Harman Solar in Phoenix. Both resi and commercial solar chargers, etc. at 5. So looking for some good tips. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and jump in here. Just a quick round of introductions. We've got 3 Demand IQ team members here.
Just put it any day next week. I'll go run it. You don't have to be an electrician, right?
Can,
Sip that shit.
I don't know who's talking right now, but if you don't mind muting, that would be great. So we've got myself, Austin Rosenbaum, founder and CEO of Demand IQ. I'm joined by Elle Sweetland, probably most of your senior account managers. You probably know Elle best in this room. And then Dan Taro, who is our head of growth.
You look at my
So
schedule.
Dan and I are, going to help facilitate this discussion. And, for anyone that's in this room, this is a roundtable type of conversation. We do have a general direction, but I just want to let everyone know that this is an active meeting. So
Let's do Tuesday.
foremost,
I do.
Hey, Nate, can you mute yourself? Austin, you can mute everyone too if you need to.
I don't know how to do that. I don't want to mute everyone because then they won't be able to
They
jump.
can unmute themselves after. It's a temporary thing.
Okay, how do I do that?
I think there should be but if you go to,
Three dots in the top right, there's like three blue dots.
there you go. Dan's got you.
Um,
So
looks
hover over the person that's talking.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I got it. Yep. It looks like he's got it taken care of anyway. So, all right. Well, again, welcome to this first mastermind session. This is something that we put together through an abundance of feedback. So you all wanted to learn more about marketing. You wanted to learn from your peers. We felt like we've amassed a set of, learnings through Demand IQ that we want to share just generally about marketing and, from home improvement and solar marketing as well. So thank you so much for being here. This session is about creating winning ads and helping you scale your business through better content production. And so each of these sessions are going to be laser focused on specific topics. And so we want to get really deep. We don't want to go really wide, right? We want you to walk away with things that you can actually use in your business and learnings that you can apply. And so we want to get really down in the weeds and really understand kind of like what worked and what didn't work so you can take home things and share that with your team. Kind of got on this just a second ago, but why you're here. So we actually did a survey maybe to some of you participated, but to all of our customers about this mastermind idea. And the three things people wanted to get from these sessions was peer-to-peer learnings. So they wanted that kind of roundtable format where they could share wins or share ideas of what's working, what's not working, and learn about things that they might want to implement. Improving marketing systems is something that's one part tech, one part art, one part science, right? So getting everything in place that helps you, getting a system in place that helps you scale. We're going to be consistently hitting on this topic. And then number 3 is industry trends. And so if you saw the agenda, you'll note that number 3 talks about Google's VO3, which is a new AI tool for making studio quality ads. It's like badass. It's like absolutely incredible. If we get a chance to talk about that in this session, that will be great. There's a chance that we may need to punt that one to next week. We're going to try to do these calls weekly, but industry trends, hot new topics, things like that. I want to keep this fresh for you guys so that you're getting, hearing what we're hearing as things that are popping up so you can implement them as soon as possible. But today's call, I think we're really going to get into 1 and 2 because this is the first time that we're doing this. I don't know, how long the roundtable is going to take, how active people are going to be. So this is going to be a pilot. So just bear with us. If we don't get to number 3 today, I promise we could spend an hour talking about literally every single one of these points here. So just, bear with us as we kind of figure out what we'll get to and how we need to spread this out across the next week. All right. So kind of just jumping into this. I know that many of you said that you are somewhere between a 3 and a 10, maybe more lean towards between 5 and 10 when it comes to ads, but think more broad on this question. So this is a question for the whole group, not just about home improvement, but about all ads that you see. The classic example is Super Bowl ads, right? But I want to know, when you think of great ads, what comes to mind and why? Generally speaking, what makes a great ad in your mind? And again, it doesn't have to be home improvement, but if it is home improvement, I'd love to hear that too. I would prefer, it looks like we're getting some chats in here. Again, since this is the first time we're facilitating discussion like this, I would actually just love for us to just shout out, right? And so this conversation is going to be best when I have your active participation and we're talking like we're all just on the same team here. So if anyone has some just general thoughts, okay, yeah, I love the hand raise. Actually, the hand raise is a really good way for us to facilitate this. So, Emil, it looks like you've got one, Roman's got one. So we'll just start in order. So Emil, am I saying your name right? I hope I am.
Yeah, that's fine. My name is Emil.
Perfect.
I think that the best ad is something that is personalized and, for instance, the customer has, I
Hey,
mean, any person has
I'm having
some kind of problem.
sorry to interrupt you, Emil. I'm having just
Can you hear me?
a hard time hearing you. Yeah, sorry about that. Can
Yeah,
you?
I say that great ad is something personalized, in my opinion. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you
No?
much clearer now.
Yeah, I'm saying that the great ad is something that is personalized and targeting people who have, I mean, some, yeah, it's more about personalization. I mean, I have an issue or I have a problem, and advertisement, I mean, pointing on the problem and providing solution. And that solution is something um, that can be achievable easily.
Okay, so it's personalized and it's actionable. Is that what I heard from you?
Uh, yeah, it's a solution to the problem or an issue that person is encountering.
Okay, so it's speaking to the audience for sure. Um, okay, so on that topic of personalized, can you give some examples of like maybe a specific ad or like anything you've seen specifically that is really hitting home for you? If it's all good, I can just move on and we can get some other opinions here. Maybe Christina, I saw your hand pop up here. And Emil, if you want to come back, just jump in, put your hand back up if you've got something else you want to share there. Christina, I'd love to hear from you.
The ads that, hey everybody, the ads that,
Yeah, for example, one of the challenges that our this might be a big concern, and so we could so we made some advertisements saying like, hey, you have rising energy bills, we have an energy efficient system that you could install, um, and so we have I know financing, so you can, so the investment wants to strain your wallet.
Got it. Okay. Thanks for sharing that example, Emil. I'm gonna go right back to Christina here as she was just in the middle of sharing her thoughts.
I was just gonna say, just across all industries, ads that usually resonate with me, and that I see has a lot of engagement are those that have some type of humor behind it. So, especially when you have different companies, the McDonald's versus Burger King, right? Or something, or somebody, it could be something as easy as someone posting or an ad having, conversation between the two. We leave the light on for you. Oh, because you have roaches, and it's like, burn, but it's scroll stopping. So getting that emotion, usually humor tends to work, that I
That
see.
like that like classic Dollar Shave Club ad. Do y'all remember like the Dollar Shave Club or Squatty Potty or any of those ads that were like really kind of long format? It's interesting, there aren't in home improvement, we don't see a lot of that kind of like storytelling humor, right? And I think one thing that's interesting is like where are we targeting in the funnel? Like what position do you think the ads that you're talking about, this comedic humor, can you balance direct response, that idea of getting leads or getting appointments with comedy? Like, what have you all seen this concept of balance? Because I don't know that I'm seeing much of that. Like, what are you all seeing that comedic humor balance with leads?
I haven't seen that
Well,
personally.
yeah, I would just chime in.
Yeah, I don't think so much in the home service industry, but other verticals for sure.
So
I
do you
don't know. I have personally. It's just more so I just know I tailor my ad. So if, for instance, if I have an ad that says, I hope my electric bill is not so high, and then it's like the bill and it's a crackhead or like Snoop Dogg, like that's not gonna fly with my older market. So like the 60, 70-year-olds aren't gonna appreciate that. So you definitely have to tailor the humor towards the demographic that you're targeting. But when I've done that, I've noticed I do get some type of engagement that do turn into leads
Have you
personally.
run that ad, Christina?
Huh?
Have you run that ad?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Red also,
So
I have one.
good.
I have one going right now with Teddy Pendergrass. It says when that electric bill comes in and he slides in, turn off the lights, light a candle, and then it fades. And that's actually one of my highest producing. And
That's
I
so
launched
good.
it right when the July bill came in, like so beginning of August. So it was like, oh crap, like right when so it's that timing piece too. Like it has to be relevant. And then a pro tip, I know like Roman and other people have their hands up. What I like to do, and I'll share with the group because we're here, that's what we do. I'll figure out what's trending as far as memes and things like that, and then build an ad around it. And so again, knowing who like my target, who I target, like I normally have like the oldies, that come through my funnel. So I'll target them specifically. I'll just find whatever's trending and then yeah. So I've seen results with humor in that space.
Hey, Christina, on that topic of trending, can you tell us, are you using like a data source to find the trending topics? Because like my fiance, for example, is always talking about like trending TikTok things, right? And I'm not on TikTok, but like I totally like there's lots of good importance to like creating something that's trendy and relevant to what is happening this week, this month in pop culture. So like, is there a place that we can go to find what's trending? Like where do you find that?
Google.
Just Google?
Yeah, because Google will pull it up, and then when you click on it, you can see who's actively, like in the most recent, you can see who's actively still responding and if it's still going around. And then because Facebook and Meta stalks you, it'll start sending you. That's where you'll start pulling them up. So if you're not already scrolling and looking at cat videos, you're never going to see cat videos. If you're not engaging with that type of material, you're never going to see it. And so I always start with Google and just start clicking, and then they all start pulling up.
What's the Google search query? Like, what's the query that I'm putting into Google to like start my discovery process of trending ads?
Funny memes. You can even be specific for solar. I've been specific for electric, funny trending memes for solar, trending memes for lower electric bill. I won't put solar. I'll just put, because I assumed everybody else is doing it. So I don't want everybody else's. So I'll just put, but I saw one funny videos, trending videos. And I saw one where a guy was, he was singing to the thermostat and he's like, push harder, you're almost there now. And he's at the thermostat. So I thought that was pretty, funny. But that was just, funny trending videos. Like any of those tag words, it's pretty good at just looping you in.
Nice. Cool. Christine, I appreciate the tips there. I know Roman has had his hand up, and Rami, I know you have too. So Roman first, and then we're going to move on from this question. So Roman, hit it.
Yeah, for sure, Christina. That was super cool. Thanks for sharing all that stuff. I also love your singing and wish I had your bravery. So, yeah, appreciate that. I wanted to kind of go like a different route than other people have gone on this, and I wanted to like approach things from more of like a brand awareness point of view. I've always like deeply admired what Red Bull does. I mean, they have a Formula One team, they have a soccer team, they have like they sponsor all these like extreme sports and stuff like that. And they just consistently place themselves in the most high attention platforms possible, um, and put themselves in a position where people really begin to become fanatics of the brand, through being fanatics of the teams or of athletes, of stuff like that. And so I've always thought that that's really incredible. I also love the idea of like owning a Formula One team or owning a soccer team that is profitable or break even, and yet it's bringing in like, millions and millions of dollars in brand awareness and brand value. I've always thought that that's really impressive and compelling, and certainly not within our budget, but yeah.
Maybe there's something at a smaller scale. Does anybody like thinking about that Red Bull stuff? Like think a little smaller scale than the $1 million, one-time Red Bull budget that they have. Like how could solar and home improvement companies like do something Red Bull-esque? Like is there any activations? Like has anybody ever done like an activation like that?
I mean, I
Yeah,
see a lot of people sponsoring like local teams or, maybe high school sports or college. Like
Yeah,
where
my
they're
buddy
running.
just did that for his company last week. Our high school growing up, he sponsored the football game, and he was on every single ad. There was a player of the game with his logo on it, and it was $1,000 for the entire game for every single possible ad.
did you
Yeah.
see any results from that though?
I'm waiting. Oh, I don't know. It wasn't my ad stuff, but I'm
Got it.
waiting to ask him on it. But sounds interesting.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say in a previous role from a B2B capacity, we actually like hosted a industry Olympics. So we had like all of the best craftspeople within the industry show up and compete in their craft. And that ended up being like really successful for us. So like it was a flooring distributor of flooring materials. So we had like all these hardwood floor craftspeople come in from like in town, out of town, all around. We had a cash prize and lots of bragging rights and streamed it. And that was actually pretty successful. And we got a lot of new customers out of that.
Nice.
One thing that we've found successful, like in the solar world, historically, like the sponsorships of games and stuff like that, and even just teams tournaments, are really huge, like adult softball leagues, just anything like that you could get your hand on. And then to throw in a little bit of demand IQ here, throw QR codes on everything that you have, especially anything that's obviously physical, like banners, signs, things like that. Throw QR codes on literally everything. And then that's a lot easier to be able to generate leads. Find out how much money you could save right now. Boom, you have your own flow within Demand IQ specifically for that. And they could get an instant quote and generate leads and even appointments from that. I've seen that work a lot better historically than just a call to action through a phone number or website or something.
Cool. Thanks, David. Hey, Romy, I'm so sorry, brother. I'm gonna move on to another question because we have a lot and I just want to get through some of this before I'm sorry. Let me ask you a question. This is a quick poll. This is not like a long commentary, but in the chat, how often are you creating ads? I'd love to know just like this group frequency real quick in 30 seconds. Put in the chat, how often are you creating ads? Weekly, monthly, yearly, or not often? 3 to 4 times a week. Let's go. Weekly. 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 Oh, you guys are scaling. We love weekly. All right. Okay. Monthly, weekly. Okay. So you're making ads. So you have a process, right? So y'all have some sort of process for making ads. And I'm curious, what have you learned in the iterations of your process that are important? Like, what was the key learning thing that, like, what was the golden nugget, one thing that game changed your process from when you started it to now where you're doing it weekly now? Don't everybody jump in at one time.
Hey, Austin, I can give you something on that, man. One thing we found is actually that, look, for us, we do a lot of YouTube ads, a ton of YouTube ads, right? We're really successful with it. And one thing that we found is once you have your ad script, that first 8-second chunk, film 4 or 5 different hooks right there. The rest of the ad is identical. You only film the ad one time, but film 4 or 5 different hooks. Have your editor cut those into 4 or 5 separate videos. The only thing different in the videos is the first few seconds. Launch those all in one campaign, then let the market decide which hook actually resonates the most. That actually works extremely well. We always guess. We have a lot of fun with this team. We're like, hey, which hook do you think is going to win out? We always guess wrong. We always guess wrong every time. The market always surprises us with which one actually wins out. It saves you a ton of time, and it also helps you realize that an ad that you might have given up on is actually an extremely good ad. It's a winning ad. You just need a different hook on it.
On that note, how do you come up with your hooks? Are you using ChatGPT, or is it a combination? Are you guys sitting down in a room? Like, what's your process for the hooks? Because for anyone who doesn't know, hooks are one of, especially with videos and scroll stopping ads, it's literally everything. It's like the difference between make or break. So what we're talking about with a hook is that first, 8 seconds or even 3 seconds of the ad. So Steven, what's your process for the hook?
Yeah, so we'll get some ideas from ChatGPT. We'll use that to get a big list of ideas, then run through them, right? But for us, when it comes to hooks, we're always looking to challenge conventional thinking, especially for YouTube, because you don't pay for the first few seconds of that ad. If they skip right away, you don't pay for that. So I actually want my hook to get rid of somebody who's not interested right away. If they're not interested, I want that hook to get rid of them. And at the same time, I want it to be something you wouldn't expect a solar provider to say. So one of the hooks that works really well for us is Northern California homeowners are getting hosed with solar. Or another one is a lot of people are making the mistake of going solar. That's a great hook for us. A lot of people are making the mistake of going solar. Right away, if you're in the market, you're like, what? Huh? What? Hold on. Let me hear this. What's he going to talk about? Right? If you don't care about solar, you're just going to skip it. You're like, whatever. I'm not in the market. If you do care about solar, you're going to stick around. You're going to hear that video. And we're now coming from a place of authority too.
You mentioned something really important that we've seen in lead generation, and that's disqualifying people and telling them that they're not a fit in the copy. And Christine, I do see your hand there. I wanted to get to you in just a second, but talk about the concept of disqualifying people through copy. And if you could just try to make it like, because there are a few roofers and HVAC guys in here, if you could, broaden the topic to that, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, really, I specifically do that for YouTube ads, right? Like if somebody actually clicks the ad and we're talking about funnel copy or something like that, now I'm not trying to disqualify there. When I'm talking about YouTube ads, you don't pay, I believe it's the first 29 seconds you actually don't pay for. So if they hit skip before that, you're not paying for it. So anything I can say to someone who might, because my targeting is also super dialed in. If they're seeing this, I know they've been searching around for what I'm talking about, right? So all I'm doing in that first few seconds is saying something to eliminate them. I don't have anything right off top for the roof, right? So I play in solar all day long, and just think about that principle. Most homeowners are making the mistake of going solar. Like I'm telling you that buying this product is a mistake, right? I'm just using the exact opposite of what you think someone who's selling this product would say. And I would just take that prompt to ChatGPT. Hey, look, I heard this hook for solar. Most homeowners are making the mistake of going solar. How can I apply this to my business? Give me 100 ideas. And you'll find some gold in there.
Nice. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate that. Christina, quick to you, and then we're going to move on.
In my hooks, I try to identify the pain point, or just piggybacking off of like the reasons why you don't want to go solar. Same with for me, I'll say one of my best performing ones is don't like talking to sales reps. Well, good news, we fired all of them. So that pain point does go a long way, because they're like, oh, I heard so many bad things about solar. Like, yeah, tell me the juicy. And mine is like, yeah, I don't want to talk to no sales rep. Just give me the numbers. And it just falls right aligned with the Demand IQ funnel to get something to satisfy that craving of like, I need some answers right away. So
got it. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate the shout out there on the Demand IQ part too. Okay, I'm going to move on here. So how many of you are working with an agency? Just put in the chat. I'm curious, agency or in-house when it comes to making ads? In-house. Both. Okay. Answers have stopped here. So have you guys, for those that have replied, have you all tried outsourcing? Have you all also tried outsourcing too, but you've moved in-house, or is it really you just started in-house and that's how it's always been? Okay. So when it comes to creative, it looks
Wait,
like.
Austin, I think David was going to say something really
Oh,
quick.
sorry. Yeah, David, feel free to jump in there.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I've been in the game for quite a while and we've done both. It came down to like we just shrunk the company a little bit and outsourcing made more sense just because of bandwidth. But it's really difficult to find somebody who's consistent. And some of the struggles with outsourcing are just a good cost per lead, too expensive on just like the monthly retainer because you're paying that on top of your ad spend. And you really have to have a really good account manager and just stay on them a lot. But it does work well if you have somebody good, then okay, the monthly retainer is cheaper than the 5 people that I have in-house to be able to run and manage that if you're trying to scale. So there's a little bit of a give and take. But what I like to do is, get an agency, test that, get them on a month-to-month, nothing longer than 6 months, that's for sure. And then let them do a lot of the heavy lifting and see what works and then start transferring what's working in-house.
Got it. Thanks for that. And I definitely know for anyone who's, been around, you're testing a lot of different things in your business all the time. So it's good to hear that perspective of both sides and what you've learned. When it comes to the creative process, so if you're working with an agency or you're insourcing, what are the bottlenecks? Like where do you have blockers in your process that prevent you from developing creative efficiently? Like what are the main blockers in either outsourcing or insourcing in your business?
For me, prior to VO3 and different AI softwares, it was really just bandwidth. It was bandwidth and the willingness to invest in that portion just because we do have different channels in which we generate leads and we're very consistent and good at that. So it's hard to justify sometimes a bigger investment that can potentially be a higher cost of acquisition. So it was really just a bandwidth thing for us.
So basically what you're saying is some of these AI tools have just sped up your process for creating things or presumably will speed up your process for creating things and that will allow you to unblock yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's just, we got to be able to commit to that investment too. But yeah, as far as the creative, that was our biggest challenge is just really just having enough time to do it, and dedicating more staff towards that.
Got it. So Christina says here that outsourcing doesn't know how to speak to the market and in-house, I'm not good at creatives, just copy. I would love to just share some thoughts here actually that I think solve that problem, Christina, to help drive better process in your content production. And that's the part that I want to bring to this and kind of elaborate on how we have a hybrid in-source, outsource kind of model where we use both outside resources and inside resources to create our ads, and it's become quite a machine. And so this is how we're creating, 3 to 5 high quality ads per week, whether it's video or whether it's static. And when I talk about these things, it's not just it's not just ads, right? The same process here applies to landing pages, it applies to website updates, it applies to my one pager when I show up at the trade show. Literally any creative design process flows exactly like this. And what we had when, Dan joined and Schwen, who's not here, but she's our designer, when they joined, Schwen is actually an outside designer, has no experience with our business, did not know anything about what we do, but she's a talented artist, right? She's a graphic designer. And we had like just a chaotic mess of like a process, and it was just leading to like high cost of design, meaning like we had too many iterations and we just like weren't getting what we were looking for from that first go. So I think Christina, one of the things that like to your comment, you like when you're like, I need this, and then you're like, wait, that's not what I needed. Like that doesn't make sense for my audience. That's off. And then you get like overwhelmed because you're like, oh shoot, now I have to spend like how long teaching you how to talk like my customers or teaching you more about what I need. It's frustrating. And so the key, there's 2 parts to like the unlock that I'm going to share with you. One of them is just a really clear workflow. And the other part is just one part of this process, which is called brief writing. And Dan, Taro, I know we were going to jump into the Facebook discovery platform and talk about that. I'm sure many of you know about this, but if you don't, in the research phase, just like we were talking about with Google searching like trends, you can also go to the Facebook ad library and just Google that meta ad library and start looking at what people are doing for inspiration, right? Like if you're just like, dude, I don't know where to begin, start there. Like that's a great place to start. Or Christina also mentioned, searching recent trends. David, thanks for coming. Um, but then the other parts are really the brief writing. That's the part that I think Christina will help you out the most. And then, of course, design, which is what everyone's already doing, and launching as well, right? And then there's a loop that kind of comes back from the launch back to the brief writing, and I'll elaborate on that. And so this is like my least favorite slide because it looks like it's going to put you to sleep, but there's really some key parts to this concept of a brief. That the killer ad starts with the killer brief. It's really important because that brief is how you're educating your designer on what needs to be created. And the more detail you put in this brief and the more specific you are, the way that this kind of architecture of a brief lays out should get you to a better result with any designer, whether they're fully up to speed with your business or whether they're brand new and completely green to what you're selling. So I'm going to break down 3 of the key parts of the brief name, the who the audience is, and the artwork dimensions. Those are pretty obvious and self-explanatory, but where we see the most value is explaining the concept, vision, example references, and then understanding whether it's a problem-aware, solution-aware, or brand-aware ad. And so how many of you have heard of the funnel described this way as problem-aware, solution-aware, and brand-aware? Put a quick hand up if you have ever heard this before. I don't think many have, but Dan has. Okay. So this is a really, really simple way of just getting on the same page about like where the person is in the funnel that you're trying to speak to. So people are either problem aware, they know that they have a problem, right? For example, Xcel Energy's utility rates are skyrocketing, or I was just hit with a hailstorm. But they don't always know like what the next step is, or they might know of a bunch of solutions there. Like maybe it's like, oh, my uncle is gonna go get on the roof and see like what happened, or maybe I know a roofer who's like Roman who can go out and check it out, or I know a solar company like Christina who can help me. That's going to be a more solution aware person that actually knows about the solution. And then brand, and obviously that one is more targeting people who are deeper in the funnel or people who are like already thinking about the solution that you're selling, right? And then there's brand aware, which is like people who know who you are. And so this really comes into play for retargeting. Like brand aware ads are really, in my opinion, most useful for retargeting. Those are like the, 5-star review. Here's a big logo with 5 stars and a big testimonial that you're retargeting from your website of people that you just need to push over the fence into that booking. So that's a very deep funnel, a very small segment that's brand aware. The big thing that really helped us and has helped our customers is focusing more on problem aware and less on solution aware. That like your ads really just, the ones that get clicks are really the ones that just are specifically highlighting the pain. And then your landing pages and your click-through experience can talk more about your solution. But you really want to just resonate on the pain and drive that pain in the ad. That's something that's been really eye-opening for us and really helpful, is just casting a broader net by just focusing more on the pain and less on the solution. So that's kind of a bit of a, sell against my concept, which is get an instant quote in seconds, which definitely has its place for the solution aware people and also has its place on the landing page. But if you don't sell the pain, they're not going to come into the funnel or come into the landing page with the intent required to complete the process. So you got to sell that pain first. It's very important. Okay, the next component is also really important in getting the right outcome. Like we obviously, my designer and Dan and I worked on this deck, right? Like kudos to them. We did it, like they did a great job designing it. But in order to get the right outcome, you need to set the right vision and provide specific examples. If you don't provide specific examples, you are highly likely to get something that's not what you want. So when we provide, like, don't get me wrong, there's designers out there who, who are really talented and can just like hit it every time. Those people exist, but they're unicorns. Most designers generally don't know what you have in your head or don't know how to make something that's going to resonate. So giving them specific examples and pointing out what you like and what you don't like about those examples is a very helpful step. Okay, I'm going to kind of speed through this. There's just a couple slides left. So iterating, right? This is another little nugget. Use a tool where you can actually drop comments, like being able to drop a comment on the file and say, I like this, or I don't like this, or please change this on the file and not in like an email is so helpful for your designer because they know exactly what part of the ad you don't like. So I'll share with you some tools where you can do that, but also be really specific, not like I don't like this, but tell them why so that they actually learn from it. So that you go from something you don't like to something that you do like as an outcome. Here's the tech stack that we use. We use Figma. If you aren't using Figma, please, please, please start exploring it. It's one of the most incredible tools for collaborative design out there. There is Canva. I know that a lot of people use Canva. I prefer Figma. It's a much more sophisticated design solution. In fact, we've got basically our whole team, like Dan, everybody in our company uses Figma, and it has a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get it, it's awesome. Loom, I don't need to share more, but just that's a great way of keeping people in the loop. And then, of course, Slack channels. This is the last slide here. Task management, right? Like one of the things that helps keep our team efficient is that we take these briefs, and I'm at the end of this, I'm actually going to give you a brief template so that you're able to replicate our exact process inside your business. But taking that brief template and spending an hour to fill it out and then tag a ticket in your project management system with that brief and link it. And then when your designer's ready to pick up the task, they just go and pick up the brief, and they're able to run with it. So down here we have our project management system separated into 3 different categories. We have this week, which is the stuff that people are working on right now. We have backlog, which is things that they will work on next. And then we have completed so that we can always go back and see like what's been completed. So this is like a really helpful way of just sorting out like what is the workload for your designer, whether it's internal or external this week. And then of course, if you want to see these slides later, statuses to know where they're at, being able to ask your designer, how long is this going to take? How much effort's required? And then of course, if you think that this is something you want to iterate on in the future, we like to add that as a little flag. So that's it for today. We're just about out of time, but you're going to get from this a downloadable brief template where you're able to actually copy all of those components that I talked about at a little bit more detail so that you can then send those to your designers and get better results from working with your designer. So we didn't get a chance to talk about VO3 today, but I want to share that with you next week. We're going to try to meet at the same time next week. Next week's going to be a little bit more informal. We might throw in some discussion questions, but we're just going to get into the tool. We're going to try to like just do some work together inside of this new Google platform and be able to just play around with it and show you some examples and how you can start using it. So love to have you join next week, and thank you for joining today. Really appreciate everyone being here on this first session.
Hey, everyone, if you enjoyed today, drop a comment in the chat just so we know you're still here at the end. Just like drop a 1 or something. Just show some appreciation for Austin. I know he put a ton of time into preparing everything here. Sweet, some thumbs up. Sweet. Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you next week.
Cool. See you next week. Thanks a lot. Same time.
Thanks, guys. Good job, Austin.